I'm tired of the other women. I'm tired of him using me. For 2 months, I didn't even hear from you. Where were you?
I'm overwhelmed, man. I love you.
Fooled me once, shame on you. Fooled me twice, shame on me. He fooled you about 50 times.
We are a financial disaster because of him.
Divorce doesn't exist where I'm from.
Neither one of you is wrong for having your opinions, but it just makes you wrong for each other. There's been a huge breach of trust, according to you.
She was on the fast with the pastor. She sending pictures with a smoothie of straw in her mouth and a sausage McMuffin. Can I eat this, pastor? You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, hold on, why you gotta send pictures with it?
Here is today's case.
This wife refuses to give her husband the key to her heart and their house. She wants him to man up and stop running to his family when things get tough. Is he willing to let his family go, or can they mend their marriage? That's today's case on Divorce Court.
Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Faith Jenkins presiding. Your Honor, our virtual audience is filled with your superfans. Today's superfan of the day is Allison from Concord, California.
Welcome to Divorce Court, Allison. We're really happy to have you with us. Enjoy.
Your Honor, this is the case of Joseph versus Joseph.
Thank you, Juan. Ms. Joseph?
Yes, Your Honor.
You said the two of you have been married for 3 years.
Yes, Your Honor.
But you are having a number of problems that you have been unable to resolve, which has brought you to divorce court.
That's correct.
I'll hear from you first, ma'am.
Hi, Your Honor. I brought Will, my husband, to divorce court because his lack of responsibility, his running back to his parents every time we get into an argument, and also poor financially helping me when I need it.
What do you have to say about that, Mr. Joseph?
It's not true. She tells me to get out. Get the out of my house. This is my house. Everything is my. Me.
That's
if it's
not
me,
Your Honor.
I don't even have a key to the house. I pay my own bills. Everything I have is paid off. I have no problem with paying bills. If you want me to pay bills in this particular area, I gotta know how to get to I have access to my things.
Well, Ms. Joseph, what is going on that's brought you to this point where Mr. Joseph said he doesn't even have a key to his own home?
By us living together in the beginning, there wasn't a problem. We moved from the first place to the second place, and that's where it began the complications. As soon as we moved to the second place, a first month was coming in, and I asked Will, how are we gonna pay the first month rent because we're just now moving into the new place? He gave me some money that told me it was all he had at that time. I told him it was still gonna be short because the agreement was that we go half on all bills. If I asked you in the beginning, hey, you know, do you have all the money? If you didn't at that particular time, it wouldn't have been a problem for me to cover his half. I would have been prepared for that, but that wasn't the case at that time. He told me that was all he had. Like I had no other option to do that by myself.
Mr. Joseph, what do you have to say, sir?
That's a lie, because I said I will. If there's a late fee, I will cover it when I get paid again. Oh no, it just went left from there.
Has this been an ongoing issue between the two of you, the dispute over money and bills being paid?
Yes, and it only happened when we started moving into the second place. The biggest issue is when we get together, we forget about all the negativity and we have fun times, and then it just be that. So my thing is, I'm not gonna give him a key to the house if he's not gonna help me with the bills financially. I need to be reassured that I will be helpful as well with my husband instead of him always leaving me by myself and running back to his family's house and depending on his family when he have a home with me.
Well, but he says that you have the only reason he's leaving, according to him, is because you are kicking him out and asking him to leave.
But that's not true, Your Honor, because I don't tell him get out the house. He packs his stuff and say less and walks out on his own.
And now that's why we're here.
Exactly.
Because the two of you don't even agree on the circumstances as to why you've only been in your marital home for 4 weeks out of six months. It's interesting because you said before, when you were living in the older place, that he was responsible and paying bills. Is this a much more expensive place that the two of you can't afford?
Yes, it's a much more expensive place, but we both can afford it together.
You've been together for over 10 years, am I right, ma'am?
Correct.
And so I know finances are always a big issue in a marriage. I just don't understand if your income has remained the same. You said that this place is more expensive, but it's a place you can afford. Why all of a sudden you're saying Mr. Joseph just doesn't want to pay the bills and is not contributing?
I told Will Nick that the first of the month was coming up, so I was just asking how we're gonna handle the bills. He specifically told me that he had already helped his family with money, so he wasn't gonna help me no more. So of course that made me think like, what am I gonna do?
And is that what happened? You helped your family out?
Yes, yes. If I'm there, they give me a key to sleep in a certain area, and they come ask me. Of course, I'm entitled to do that.
Because you've been staying with them.
Yes. If I don't have a key in my stuff, I can't give you no money, and I can't get in.
Where are your things?
At the residence. She has them hostage.
No.
What do you mean by has them hostage?
She won't give them to me. I have no clothes. I had to rebuy a whole new wardrobe.
So not only do you not have a key, you're saying you have no access to your things?
My shaving clippers, deodorant, toothbrush.
Why does he not have access to get his things if he needs
Because
to?
I also told him that he can come home to get his clothes. I don't have his clothes as hostage.
I don't want to argue.
I want him to come home, and when he come home, all of his stuff is there.
It goes left every time. Every time.
So she's not holding them hostage. You just don't want to go get them.
She didn't say that, because every time I go speak to her, it ends up going left. So I asked her mother, hey, can you get my clothes for me? Oh, she said, no, you can't. No.
When did she take the key away?
She never gave it to me.
You never had the key?
Never had the key from day one.
How did your things get in the new home?
From when we came back from the anniversary.
Actually, when we came from the anniversary, I had to go to work, so I left it in my things in a rental car with her and left and went to work. So she left with my things. Instead of bringing them upstairs to my where my mother was, she left with my things.
You have a witness.
Yes, my mother is here.
What is it that you want the court to know about their relationship, ma'am?
I've spoken to her about the key. I figured that your husband should be home with you. It's like, soon as after they got married, all hell broke loose.
I just want to understand this because you say you never had a key. When you got the new place, wasn't the plan for the two of you to live together as husband and wife?
Yes, ma'am.
But you never had a key?
Never had the key.
But in the beginning?
Never.
Because you had to do what? Earn your keep and earn your space there?
Right.
You said here that you were planning on giving him a key, but you needed him to contribute to the bills first.
Exactly.
So you know
when
he's serious.
First moved in there, remember how he just left the money on the table and still shorted the bill?
If he's never had a key, this has never been actually established as your marital home, how do you know if he would or would not contribute?
It has been established as my marital home because, remember, we moved from the first house to the second house, and the key was already made.
He didn't.
Never had it.
He never had it. Never. Not once from the beginning.
But that's not a problem.
So you want him to earn his way into this apartment and earn his way in getting access into this apartment. And it's a vicious cycle because he's saying, I'm not going to pay half of the bills and be 50-50 on a place that I don't have a key to, and I'm paying for the place that I'm staying at.
Yes.
That he actually is living at.
Yes.
So you're asking him to pay for half of the bills to a place that you won't give him a key to. You're perpetuating the problem. That's why you've ended up here.
I just wanted him to be compromised with me, and that is not actually about the key. He don't have to earn the key to be in his house.
You've really made it about that, though, because that's a really big statement that you're making. When you're married and you say, I want my husband to come home, I want us to operate as a team in this marriage. But the statement that you're really making is it's all conditional on him proving to you and showing you that he's going to contribute a certain amount of money.
It's hard when
that might not have been your intention, but sadly, that has been the consequence. It just has. So you've been staying with the relatives, you've been staying with family members, and you have a witness.
Yes, my mother is here.
And what is your mother here to testify about?
She basically wants us together. She's our rock. Like, she's our mediator because anytime we have problems that we can't handle on our own, he runs to my mother and she try to, be our mediator. So she try to tells us she don't be on nobody's side. She try to tells us the truth about each other, and basically she just wants us to handle our business or our problems on our own without her being in it, and I get it.
So I'll hear from Miss Brenda Ellison now. Miss Ellison, thank you so much for being here with us.
Hi, thank you. You're welcome.
Miss Ellison, I understand that you have been somewhat of a mediator between your daughter and Mr. Joseph. You know him very well. They've been together a long time, and you've witnessed a lot in their relationship. You've listened to the testimony. What is it that you want the court to know about their relationship, ma'am?
Well, you know, they started their relationship in all a total of 14 years, 11 years together and 3 years of marriage. They never had all these problems until after they got married. You know, I try to remind them of their vows with their promise to God. And my cousin, who actually did the ceremony, before he pronounced them husband and wife, he said to them, "Do not let no man be the reason of the cause of the separation of this marriage that God has placed together." And you know, it's like, soon as after they got married, all hell broke loose. And yes, I've spoken to her about the key. I figured that your husband should be home with you. However, I can't make an adult do what they want to do. Yes, Will Nick have come to me about, you know, trying to get his clothes and this. And, you know, Judge, Your Honor, I pray so hard. And I know they can do it. They can do it. It's just that seems like they just like they let the enemy just come into their marriage. That four-letter word, past, P-A-S-T. If they can leave that past alone, they'll be just fine.
Things change over time. You change over time. So you figure out what the other person needs and wants at this point. What is it that you want?
I want to be happy like we were when we first met.
And what about you? What is it that you want? Look at your husband and tell him.
I want my husband to come home, but also I have the key right here.
If you'd like your case to be heard on divorce court, call us toll-free, 1-877-311-2222, or log on to our website at divorcecourt.com. Miss the show? Watch full episodes on our streaming platforms and follow us on social media for exclusive content.
If you're going to reconcile your marriage, you can't think about what happened yesterday. You're going forward.
And you've known Mr. Joseph a long time. Have you known him to work and be a provider?
Yes, he will work and he will pay his bills. Now, for what Snova is saying, I cannot vouch about what actually goes on in her house for as bills are concerned. Your Honor, I just pray that they get themselves together because I love them and I love Will like a son. However, whatever this problem is, I begged him. I've always begged him. Go for counseling. Get counseling. I don't know about what happened with that part. I asked her. She says he's supposed to be looking. And then I said, well, why don't you look? Okay, then she looked, and then I don't know. So I don't know who's looking or not. But I am very glad, and I'm sorry to cut you off, but I'm very glad that you have came about to help them reconcile so they can get counseling. But they got to get their act together. They got to be solid as one whole.
Thank you, Miss Ellison. I appreciate your time today.
You're very welcome.
The reason I wanted to ask those questions is finances is a big part of when you join together in marriage because you're working as a team, you're on the same team. It's not always 50-50. Sometimes it's 100 while the other person is figuring something out. Sometimes it's 100 for the other person while someone else is figuring it out. It's never always 50-50. And I asked about you in particular because I wanted to know, because there's a difference between when you're short on funds because a lack of effort, or when you're not trying, or when you're working and you just may not be making a lot of money at that time in your career or at that time in your life. And that's what happens over the course of a marriage. There are going to be peaks. There are also going to be valleys.
Right.
And it's not about how you treat each other at the peaks, because it is so easy to be nice to your husband when he's at his peak.
You're right.
It is how you treat him when he is in his valley.
You're right.
And when you take those vows and you decide you're going to stay together through thick and thin, and you have someone who's making the effort, you can't make your love be conditional and your marriage be conditional on half of a light bill.
But
It's going to be
that's
short
not just it,
sometimes.
though.
So when things happen and you don't have all the money, you have to start thinking about, okay, what are the best decisions I can make for my family with my finances right now? Because the fact is, you know, your mom talked about when you got married, what that meant. There's another scripture. A man shall leave his father and mother and hold fast to his wife, and they shall become one. Because at some point, right, you've got to stop using your family as a safety net to run to when things get rough because, oh, I'm just going to go here. 4 weeks over the last 6 months, the two of you will never work it out if you're not there.
That's really
to
all
do the
I'm
work.
saying. I just don't want his family to be the safe haven.
You have not given this man a key to his own marital home. So the message that you are sending when you do that is he is not really welcome there until he proves that he is worthy of your love.
Even when I
until
tell
he
him?
proves he is worthy. Who cares about your words when your actions say something else? Cares about your words when your actions say something else. You show him that the two of you are in this together. What?
Pass that complexion plate.
It's easy to fall in love, but it takes work to stay there. And you know what the work is? The two of you gotta have to be under the same roof to do the work.
I want him to come home.
Do you want to go home?
Yes, ma'am.
You've been together a long time.
Yes, we have.
You have to sit down and have an open and honest conversation with each other about what your needs are at this point in their relationship. And the other person has to listen because things change over time. You change over time. And your needs and how you want to be loved changes over time.
Agreed.
So you figure out what the other person needs and wants at this point in order to move forward in your marriage. What is it that you want?
I want to be happy like we was when we first
Why
met.
don't you tell her that?
I do tell her that.
Look at her right now and say it.
I want to be happy like we was when we first met. Talk about anything, like.
And what about you? What is it that you want? Look at your husband and tell him.
I want a future with my husband. I want a family with my husband. I want my husband to come home. But also, I want my husband to be my listening ear, not just run away from me when he feels like we have a problem together.
The both of you need to have some time where you listen to what the other is saying. Because what your mother said is she's rooting for you. You have people who are rooting for your marriage.
Yes, we do.
They're rooting for your family, but you got to root for yourself. Give yourself a chance to do it together. You understand?
That's understandable. And also, like, I have the key right here, Miss Jenkins. It's possible if I can give my husband the key if he wants to come home because I want him to come home, but I also want us to be together. Like, from this day forward, we shouldn't have no problems.
That's going to be up to the two of you. But if you want to give it to him, you can give it to him.
Okay. Here.
Welcome home, Mr. Joseph.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Now go home, the two of you, and work on this.
Okay.
I have faith in you. I believe you can do it.
Thank you.
I believe you can make it. Good luck.
Judge Faith told me to listen. That's one thing that she told me to do and stuck out with me. And it's gonna be stuck with me until forever because that's the main thing that I really lack upon when it comes down to arguing with my husband. I tend to talk a lot instead of just shutting up and listening to what his problems and maybe it could be mediated.
Try my best to do better with like communicating more and you know like if we have a problem like we could sit down and talk about it instead of running to my safe haven. You know the judge made some key points that I gotta follow so I guess I have to do that a little better job with that.
Just I hope you come home. Is you coming home?
Yeah, I'm coming home.